call our meeting to order. First item is invocation by Pastor Hobby Wiles of the Robert Road Baptist Church. That'll be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Sue Burt.
Thank you, Mayor, council members, for the opportunity to be here tonight. Let me pray. Father, we are grateful and thankful to come before you this evening to give thanks and praise for how you're ministering to us as a town. Father, for each member of the council and the mayor, we pray you continue to lead them in their vision and their intensity and continue to lead us in the way that you want us to go. We are grateful and thankful, Father, for the improvements that are being made in our city. We give thanks for that because it takes a lot of hard work. And I'm not telling you anything that you don't already know, but we want to give you praise and thanks for the initiative of each and every one on the council, for all the employees of the city, and we'll give you the praise and the glory in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Pastor.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Sue. Next item is a roll call. Diane?
Mayor Skoog.
Present.
Vice Mayor Nye.
Here.
Councilmember Anderson.
Here.
Councilmember Grossman.
I'm here.
Councilmember Mallory. Here. Councilmember Rooney.
Here.
Councilmember Whiting.
Here.
We have a quorum, Mayor.
Thank you, Diane. Okay, next is the proclamations, National American Indian Heritage Month. We'll meet up here. Read it, Diane.
Yes, Mayor, whenever you are.
Okay.
National American Indian Heritage Month, November 2017. Whereas the ASDAR Yavapai chapter of Prescott Valley, Arizona, is sponsoring National American Indian Heritage Month in the Tri-City area during the month of November, and whereas the history and culture of our great nation has been significantly influenced by American Indians and indigenous peoples, and whereas the contributions of American Indians have embraced the freedom, prosperity, and greatness of America today, and whereas their customs and traditions are respected and celebrated as part of a rich legacy throughout the United States, and whereas Native American Awareness Week began in 1976 and recognition was expanded by Congress and approved by President George Bush in August 1990, designating the month of November as National American Indian Heritage Month. And whereas in honor of National American Indian Heritage Month, community celebrations as well as numerous cultural, artistic, educational, and historical activities have been planned. Now therefore, Harvey C. Skoog, Mayor of the town of Prescott Valley, Arizona, do hereby declare November the 2017 as Native American Indian Heritage Month.
Any comments, Vice Mayor?
You said, here we are again. And I answered, yes, and I'm glad. And that covers it.
Sue?
I did want to say one thing. We want to speak to the third one where it says American Indians have enhanced the freedom, prosperity, and greatness of America. Did you realize that in both World War I and World War II, Indians provided code talkers so that they could communicate and not have anyone understand what they were saying? They defeated the Germans that way in World War II. When the when a German was captured and came in and said, "Who were those people talking over the phone?" And the man said, "They were all Americans."
Comments? No comments? She said it all, she says. So we want to thank you and appreciate that.
Hey,
We appreciate
Glad to be here.
our Indian culture. Appreciate what you've done. Thank you so much.
thank you.
Okay. Now, next one would be tax. Anyone here to receive that? There we go. Hey, thank you, Dan. Appreciate that. I'll tell you. Okay.
Charitable Tax Credit Giving Month, November of 2017. Whereas the State of Arizona Tax Credit Program enables taxpayers to contribute $400 for a single taxpayer and $800 for taxpayers filing a joint tax return and receive a dollar-for-dollar tax credit on their Arizona tax bill. And whereas the full amount can be given to a qualified charitable organization of their choice and a school of their choice. The taxpayers can use their tax dollars to express their beliefs and values by supporting a charity that does the work that they hold dear. And whereas employers are urged to adopt the option to allow employees to contribute to a qualifying charitable organization from state withholding, thereby not reducing take-home pay, and whereas employees are encouraged to take advantage of the opportunity to contribute to a qualifying charitable organization from their state tax withholding without reducing tax-home pay, and whereas by donating to a qualified charitable organization and a school, taxpayers are in effect given the opportunity to choose how a portion of their tax dollars, and whereas taxpayers no longer need to itemize in order to participate in the Arizona Tax Credit Program, a donation that qualifies for a state tax credit is also fully deductible on a federal tax return, reducing the federal tax liability. And whereas the Arizona Tax Credit Program is a way of keeping our tax money in this community, keeping tax dollars local through the charitable giving tax credit builds a stronger and better community at no cost to the donors. Now, therefore, I, Harvey C. Skoog, Mayor of the town of Prescott Valley, in partnership with Yavapai Big Brothers Big Sisters, do hereby declare November 2017 as Charitable Tax Credit Giving Month, and for the good of the community, urge residents to keep their money local by making a donation to a qualified local charity and school.
Thank you, Dan. Laura, your comments?
I was trying to remember, Mr. Dan Streeter. Isn't it now $400 per giver? Like a couple could give $800 now?
Yeah.
Because each one is allowed.
Yes, you just hit. You're stealing that.
Well,
Dan, your thunder.
So, Councilwoman Nye, you're absolutely correct. What's nice about this opportunity, and I'm here not only as a superintendent for the Humboldt Unified School District, but as an executive board member for Yavapai Big Brothers Big Sisters. You can use your tax credit for both a qualifying charitable organization and a school. So your $400 doesn't have to be split. So essentially, you have an opportunity to make sure that your tax dollars go to support the programs that you would like your tax dollars to go to support. Obviously, I would love your charitable organization to be Yavapai Big Brothers Big Sisters, but we have many wonderful organizations in this community that can benefit from this. And I would certainly encourage you to do your tax credit to the Humboldt Unified School District, any of our schools, any programs that would support our students. And I think this is a great way for the community and our charitable organizations and schools to continue to work together. So thank you for this.
Well, it's certainly an opportunity to put your money, not let the state tell you where to put it. You got the choice, so you pick the organization. And of course, Mr. Streeter appreciates if it goes to school. Any other comments?
I'm afraid.
Yeah, that we both know that's
It's not true.
She said she's afraid to. That's the first time in her life.
No, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the proclamation. We appreciate
Well, thank you so much. We appreciate that. Keep up the good work. Good, thank you. Next to the will be Student of the Month. Now, he's not here, but I know that Mr. Whiting would like to make some comments.
I would, yeah. This is usually one of our most exciting evenings of our council meetings, the fourth Thursday of every month. But unfortunately, both the principal and the student that we're going to recognize tonight have conflicts, and so obviously it's a little more important sometimes in our meeting. But I wanted to give you a little idea who this person was, and it's something that in terms of how the student is recognized, picked, and deemed Student of the Month is through their fellow classmates, faculty, and staff. And so it's not something that's done lightly, and it's done in conjunction with, and that is it's supported by the Optimist Club of Yavapai County, Bradshaw Mountain High School, as well as the town of Prescott Valley. And so we think it's a very important thing that we're able to recognize students like the one we're going to talk about a little tonight. And there's not a lot I can say without her being here to say thank you, and we appreciate your commitment, and we hope you're the best in the future, and that you'll come back when you finish your education and contribute to our community once you're able to do so. But it's Jamie Peterson is the Student of the Month for October, and Jamie is a girl, and she is she has a GPA of 4.088, and she's the top 9% of her graduating class, so she ranks very high in her class, and I think every student we've had thus far since August has been kind of in the same position as well, so I'm not sure how we can accommodate all these outstanding students. Some of the things she told me, as far as I think something you'd like to hear that's not so serious, and that is some of her future plans that include finding a place to consistently volunteer. So if you're looking for volunteers, keep Jamie in mind. She wants to get a degree in exercise science, so that's kind of her focus. She wants to become a strength and conditioning coach after all is said and done, and she could do that here very well in Prescott Valley, so we hope she can come back and do that. She wants to become more involved with her church, which we all appreciate. I think we all want to do that. And she wants to join CrossFit. So these aren't in any particular order, so we just want to say thank you to Bradshaw Mountain High School and for Jamie for being such an outstanding student, and she is our Student of the Month for October. Congratulations, Jamie, wherever you are.
Thank you, Mike. Next is PVPD new employee introductions. You get the honor?
Yeah, I do. Mayor and Council, thank you for this opportunity. I'd like to introduce 4 officers that just got off of probation, I think probably last month, right? And I forgot my readers, and I'm getting old, so I'm hoping that this font is big enough. Absolutely not. But we have 4 great stories that I'd like you guys to hear. The first is Gabriel Maldonado. Could you step forward, Gabe? Gabriel Maldonado was born in Mexico and immigrated to the United States when he was around 8 years old. He grew up in Washington State and graduated from, I'm not going to, Wenatchee High School. He immediately entered the United States Air Force and separated with an honorable discharge in 2000. He married his beautiful wife that same year, and they've been married ever since. They have 2 children together. Gabe attended Eastern Washington State University. He has worked as a dispatcher with the Yavapai County Sheriff's Office, and he began his career with the Prescott Valley Police Department as a community service officer in 2015. He applied to be a police officer with the town and went through Northern Arizona Regional Training Academy, graduating December of 2016. In Gabriel's short career, he has already received the Medal of Valor. Next is Gabriel Holman. Step forward, please. Gabriel Holman was born in Managua, Nicaragua, where he attended and graduated high school. Gabriel came to the United States at the age of 20 in August of 2001. A month later, 9/11 happened. Gabriel learned English at Embry-Riddle for a semester and started aviation classes in January of 2002, graduating in 2008 with a degree in aeronautics and a minor in aviation navigation. Gabriel joined the Arizona Army National Guard in 2013. After basic training, he worked full-time as an Army Honor Guard for 3 years. Gabriel joined the Prescott Valley Police family in 2016. In 2007, he married Olga Lilly, whom he met at Embry-Riddle, and they have a 10-month-old daughter, Olga Isabel. His mother and some other family still live in Nicaragua. Next is Matthew Wilson. Step forward, please. He began his career in 2016, graduating from NARDA Class 41. Before working for the Prescott Valley Police Department, Matthew worked for the Yavapai County Sheriff's Office as a detention officer, where he is also the detention liaison officer with GITM Task Force for 2.5 years. Matthew was a terrorism liaison officer for 1 year while there, and he has become one with the Prescott Valley Police Department. Matthew has been married to his wife, Noelle, for 11 years, and they have 8 children. That seems like an awful lot. 4 of which he and his wife adopted from local foster care. He enjoys spending time with his family and doing outdoor activities and working in the community where he lives. And lastly is Brandon Kelly. Brandon was hired in July of 26, again attending NARDA 41. Before coming to work with us, he was a sergeant with the Arizona Department of Juvenile Corrections. Brandon has been married to his wife Melissa for 6 years, and they have been together a total of 12 years. They have a 2-year-old son and a baby girl due in January. Brandon enjoys being outdoors, reading good books, and volunteering at his church. So our 4 most recent graduates from probation.
I want to congratulate all the new officers. Council, have any comments? Anyone? Mary?
Well, as always, I truly appreciate all that you've done and all that you want to do for the community here. And you always have my full support. And we appreciate you. I don't know where we'd be without the people that are willing to go in the forefront for our safety. Thank you.
Mike?
Yeah, I think we're all pleased to see our new officers, and hopefully they'll be out on the street before we know it. And I think it's an example, if they're not already, a good example of how we're putting our investment to work. You know, I think you're the 4. We saw 5 last week. So we have 9. I think they're in that situation, and you all kind of look the same, you know, even though you're different. And it must be the haircut, I don't know, but it's a great giveaway, except for Lieutenant. You know, I think he looks the same way.
Barber.
Yeah. But we appreciate your commitment and willingness to come and serve with the town of Prescott Valley, and we look forward to seeing you out in the community.
Jody?
Thank you, Mayor. I want to welcome you all. Thank you so much for taking all the effort that it took to go through all of the training to be here today. I know that you're making relationships with each other internally in the department, relationships in the community. I want you to know that you have a relationship here too. Mayor, I also wanted to know which one of these gentlemen is really good at ping pong, because I don't know if you already told them about the ping pong tournaments that go on here too. And you know, the police department, you know, they rock, so.
I think they'll learn pretty quick. Marty?
Yeah, I'd like to welcome the 4 officers. You just got off probation, which is probably a big stepping stone for you. I know how much work needs to be put in order to get to that step. And as a past president of the Police Foundation, I'm sure that you will definitely represent our police department in the best manner that we expect from you, and we have high hopes for that. So thank you.
Good, thank you. Rick?
I want to thank all four of you for choosing Prescott Valley to come to work for. We do appreciate it. We welcome you, and we certainly do welcome your family. In fact, I have a feeling that some of those family members may be in the audience tonight, and I'd kind of like to see them stand up and be recognized, because we appreciate the families as much as we do the officers here, because
Families, come
they're
on up.
very important to.
I know you don't
our
want to, but
success.
come on up.
Are they going to come up? No. Are you all bashful? A lot of kids, huh?
Thank you very
Well, we
much.
certainly want to congratulate all of you. And not only congratulate you, but thank you. And wish you the best. And express our appreciation. Thank you so much. Good job.
Thank you, Mayor. All right. Good stuff.
Okay, next we have certificates of appreciation we've had for three employees. However, two for some reason are rescheduled, and therefore that leaves us with one, a gentleman named Gene McFarland. And I think everybody in the whole world knows Gene. Gene, come on up. Richard, do you have a comment?
Oh, yes, I do. Many of you don't know, some of you do, but Gene has been a longtime employee with the town of Prescott Valley, well beyond that 10-year mark. Gene started with the Prescott Valley Police Department 30 years ago, and we were very fortunate that Chief Cedar saw his talent, or lack thereof, but hired him as a police officer, and he remembers back quite a while ago when roads were dirt and they drove gremlins and things like that. Fortunately, I never experienced that. But Gene came back after going to work for the Yavapai County Sheriff's Department for a while, and then he regained his senses and he decided to come back to work for the town of Prescott Valley and Prescott Valley Police Department. He recently, a couple years ago, decided to undertake a career change, and we had the opportunity to interview him for a code enforcement position. He excels in that capacity. I've known Gene for the entire time that I've worked for the town of Prescott Valley. He's quite a resource throughout the organization. He knows everybody. He knows everything. He knows where everything is buried, other than the time capsule that Larry buried and he forgot where he put it. Yeah, not. So I enjoy interacting with Gene every day. He's got an infectious laugh. Some people sometimes are taken back because he laughs very freely with an open mouth, and har, har, har can be heard completely through the second floor. But I find that a nice thing every day. He fits our organization. He's very willing to talk with people, work with people, and bring resolutions to problems, and I'm very proud to have him work in the Community Development Department. I'm just a little taken back that he elected to leave the best place in the world, and that's employment with the town of Prescott Valley, but obviously, again, he's come back to his senses. So thank you, Gene, for at least your couple of years in my office, and I hope you're going to be there for another 10.
Laura, you want to discuss his census?
Come close, Gene. Gene and I go way back, and I promised him I wouldn't be too ornery. But, you know, Gene, I listened to Richard carefully, and didn't he describe you pretty accurately?
I'm pretty impressed.
Yes. This is a joyful man. I've never been around him when he didn't have a big smile. And if you'd let him, a funny story. Are you going to own up to that?
I've got a story mostly for the mayor. A little bit of history.
So I'll be quiet now so we can turn it over to someone incredibly special. And welcome home, Gene.
You really think we should?
Just a bit of trivia, Mayor, and I don't recall if you remember this, but when I started my career, I was part-time with Prescott Valley Police in 1986, went full-time in 87, I was supposed to get my 5-year certificate from Mayor Smith. Unfortunately, I think I was working graveyards so long that they never did get a hold of me in time. And we had a brand new mayor in 1993 who gave me my new 5-year certificate with Ed Smith's signature on it. And just after you started, sir.
I've given away a couple of those over the years. Any other comments, Laura?
I've said enough.
Who's got it? Mike?
Yeah, I remember Gene when I first got involved with Blockwatch. I think he'd been very instrumental in putting Blockwatch groups together. And I agree with Laura Lee. He is a very joyful person. He's an optimist. He's always smiling. We appreciate your experience, your willingness to work with Prescott Valley, and we hope to see you here and not leave again. Thank you.
Mischief of
Marty?
Yeah, I've had times to deal with Gene. Well, not deal with, but I've had conversations with Gene when he was working both as the for the police department and again when he was working for code enforcement. And as everybody has said, I mean, he's always got that smile on his face and, you know, a positive attitude towards everything. Even when things are going bad, he looks at the good in it. So it's always a joy and a pleasure to talk with you and to you know, ask questions and just, you know, interact with you. So it's when you came over from the police department to code enforcement, I was very happy to see that because I thought that position suited you really, really well, and it suited the town even better. So thank you for staying with the town and continued success in that department. Thank you.
Rick?
Gene, you've always been pleasant to be around, and that's something I rarely say about anyone.
And that's true.
Larry will attest to that, but it is true in your case. It really is, and that's a good thing. It just brightens everybody's day when you're there. So, thank you very much.
Mary?
Gene, thank you so much for the service to the town. And, you know, we do, since you kind of were here and then you left, so we're kind of adding back into those years, you know what I mean? So we're probably looking at about another 25 years, at least, right? Yeah? All right. Thank you so much.
Jody?
Gene, I'm sure that you found that as you work in one area and you go to another, that what you learn you take with you, and it just is even better because of that knowledge. And we appreciate that you have done that. And I'm sure you've taken the time to help nurture other employees and to bring them up in knowledge as well. Thank you.
Anything to add in your defense?
Well, there was 4 officers in here that I helped with backgrounds on that I'm part to blame. So that was my position before. You're right. I helped develop.
Good. Laura?
Oh, no, I've already.
You do it. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, Gene, come close. What it says here is Appreciation Award from the town of Prescott Valley, presented to Mr. Gene McFarland in appreciation for 10 years of dedicated service.
Wow.
October 2007 to October 2017. And we're proud to give you that. Would you like to give that one? Go for it, Mayor.
Can you believe it? An emerald and a pin?
Oh, gosh.
Thank you, Gene. And believe me, it's kind of an honor to have given you your 5-year award and 20 years later give you your 10-year award. And I think this is kind of a unique thing.
Yeah, it is very much different, yes.
Gene, you've been a great asset to the town. We're so glad to have you. Thank you.
Sir.
Congratulations. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
That was quick.
Over there, Mayor.
My 25 years doesn't go that fast.
Well, this is kind of unique for me, especially. And I think Richard has one more comment now. Lynn Newton was supposed to be here for a 35-year award. She's going to be, I understand, be rescheduled. But Richard would like to make some brief comments.
Yes, I would, Mayor. Thank you very much. Lynn's not able to be here. She had she had a commitment that she needed to fulfill that she didn't expect. I let the council know that we did have a little get-together this morning with some cake and some cupcakes and things like that, and showered her with praise and remarks. I intend to make remarks only from my viewpoint, and then she put together something in writing that she wanted me to read to the council and put on the record. Think back to October of 1982. Interestingly, when we were talking with the staff today, I have staff people that I work with that weren't born yet. And Lynn started then working in the clerk's office for the town of Prescott Valley. Think about what you were doing in 1982. She's been here for 35 years, and on that basis is the longest tenured employee that the town has ever had. Continues to hold that. And part of my experience with Lynn, and especially rewarding in one aspect, this council, during the run-up to the Great Recession, of course, saw my office start the downturn, and that trend occurred over many months. And at one point in time, we were up to issuing one residential start a month. So we had to do something about staffing. The town council and the management took a strong stand and rewarded people by saying, you're not going to lose your job. We're going to right-size this organization through attrition, as well as move people elsewhere in other jobs so as to fulfill our customer service objective. Lynn was one of those people who volunteered to go someplace else. Lynn worked for the judge for almost 3 years. One of the proudest moments in my career here is when we welcomed her back to our staff and community development. One of the proudest moments of my career, and you're to thank for that. So when we were discussing that today, and Lynn made some really heartfelt remarks about that point in her life, that she didn't lose her job, that she was given an opportunity to contribute elsewhere, but she really enjoyed coming back and she enjoys working in the town. Imagine her perspective preceding people like Gene and seeing Gene come to the table and go, boy, why did they hire that knucklehead? But in any case, Prescott Valley was a completely different community you might expect at that time. Stories have been told about having to hoard pencils so you had enough pencils and paper for the year because you didn't have a budget to continue through the next fiscal year, and those are real stories. I asked her to make remarks in writing so that I could read them. I'm going to read them verbatim to you. But she starts by saying, due to other plans, I'm unable to attend tonight's council meeting. I've asked Richard Parker to speak. I'm so grateful for the generous acknowledgement by the council for my years of service to the town. As with many of us, I've seen tremendous changes over the years. I believe this acknowledgement to me reflects the attitude of the council to the employees and present and future residents of the town. Our department is often the first contact with the government that current and prospective citizens have. I've noticed the past few years that we have new folks coming in from all over the world. We have people moving here from not only our neighboring states and countries, but from France, Romania, Russia, and Iran, parens, or as they say, Persia, to name a few. I'm thankful to live in a town where all employees and residents are appreciated and look forward to doing this again in another 35 years. So you have her to count on. I know she's very grateful to you, Mayor, Council, for the recognition that you provided to her, as well as the generous gifts and the lovely plaque that I was able to present to her today. Thank you very much.
Appreciate that. I think Lynn, of course, has been here with the town 35 years, and she's done just about every job in every department, some job in every department. When I was first appointed to the council, I believe it was about 1984, she was the town clerk, the acting town clerk, and she did the swearing in. That was when the town had about 4,000 people. She's just really a great lady. So Richard, you tell her how much we appreciate her. Any other council want to make any comments?
You know, Mayor, I would just like to take the opportunity. We've been here, my husband and I, 20 years. And so for me, what I always reflect upon when I hear things like this about people that have been here when this town was 4,000 people, and now we're looking at possibly 45 to 47,000 today. These are the people. She's part of the people that built and helped build the vision of the town that we enjoy today. And that sets a lot for me because I feel there's an obligation to the people that live here today to do the best we can and be a very good part in the community and to help maintain it and give it a good future going forward the way that others have done for us that we enjoy today. So that's what I think of, Mayor, not only for her but for all of you. And I know Kirk and I truly appreciate what you have built. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mary. Anyone else? Okay, if there's no other comment, we'll move on then to number 8, comments, communications. Council have any comments or communications?
I have.
Mayor, if I may, you
I'm
need
sorry.
to go to 7C.
To which
And
one?
just make mention of it is all.
I'm sorry, I still didn't get it. 7C. 7C. Okay, does someone have some comments about 7C? You have, Matt.
Actually, we do not, Mayor. You just needed to make mention of it, that it would not be carried forward tonight.
Okay. And no other comments? Do you have anything to read to about it?
No, I do not, Mayor. It has all been returned to your office for a later date.
Okay, we'll save that for a later date. Okay, if so, then we'll go on. Larry, did you have a comment? No? Move on to number 8, comments, communications. Marty?
Yes, I actually have a letter I'd like to read. As I read it, it'll become obvious as to why I'm reading it. Dear Mayor and Prescott Valley Town Council, the Baha'i of the greater Prescott area are so appreciative of Town Council members Jody Rooney and Martin Grossman attending our bicentenary birth of Baha'u'llah yesterday at the La Quinta Inn. Numerous people thanked us for their supporting this event and wonderful comments they made about the Baha'i faith before reading and presenting the proclamation. The event was attended by over 170 people from diverse backgrounds with prayers said in 4 languages: Spanish, Persian, there's a Persian chant, Sesotho, and English, as well as diverse music and video presentations. And we have been receiving notes of appreciation from other community organizations and other religious groups who attended. As you may know, the Prescott Valley Baha'i community participated in last year's parade using the theme set by the parade to announce one of the Baha'i principles, the oneness of mankind, using the title, Good Neighbors Come in All Colors. We are so grateful for an open and progressive town leadership who we feel is a wonderful asset to Quad Cities area. You may also be aware of the article in the Daily Courier on Friday, October 20th. A copy of the article is attached, and it's signed by Roberto Ferguson, who's the secretary on the Spiritual Assembly of the Baha'is of Prescott Valley. There was an additional email from Steve Carlo, who was the MC for the event, and he also wished to thank, both Jody and I, but more important, he wanted to thank the mayor for doing the proclamation for them. So, anyway, it was the 200th bicentennial celebration of the Baha'i faith in the Quad Cities area, and it was a lot of fun to attend. I think
Thank you, Marty.
Jody could attest to that.
Jody, comments?
Mayor, yes, I agree. It was a wonderful celebration. And one thing I truly appreciate about our community here is the diversity that we have. There's strength in that. And I look for more of that as we continue to grow. Councilmember Mallory, she mentioned about where we are between 45 and 47,000 people. That's wonderful. And it was a pleasure to be with them that day.
Any other comments or communications? If not, we'll go on to number 9, consent agenda. That will be read by Marty Grossman.
Will? Okay. All matters listed on the consent agenda are considered routine by the town council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. A, approving the October 12, 2017 council minutes. B, department reports. C, accounts payable. D, monthly financial report. E, council investment report. F, accepting the 100 Club of Arizona Safety Enhancement Stipend Award in the amount of $1,778.20. And I believe that's it.
That is it. Thank you, Marty. Do you want to, anyone want to pull an item, or do you want to approve it as a whole?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as a whole.
Okay, we need a second, anyone?
Mr. Mayor, I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Would you set the vote, Diane? Somebody not voting?
How do you wish to vote, Vice Mayor?
Yes.
Thank you. That's unanimous, Mayor.
Thank you, Diane. And now we move on to number 10, new business for review, comment, and or possible action. Number A is consideration of reappointing Sherry Dreves to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Vice Rick?
Yes. On October 31st, 2017, Sherry Dreves' term on the Planning and Zoning Commission will come due for renewal. She submitted the renewal application letter requesting to be reappointed. Sherry was first appointed to the Planning and Zoning Commission on January 24th, 2013 to fill a partial term. This reappointment will be Sherry's third term. Vice Mayor Nye, Council Member Mary Mallory, and myself are recommending the reappointment of Sherry Dreves for a term with the renewal date of October 31st, 2020. Sherry, do you want to come up?
Laura, do you have any comments?
I want to hear why you're willing to sign up again.
It is the
Pull
best.
the mic down just a little bit.
Oh, you know the voice carries. It is actually the most wonderful department to work for. Not only do I have a background in it, but everything that we have furnished from the planners is perfectly in order, and all of our questions are always answered. So it's a piece of cake job, guys.
Please know how deeply appreciative we are. We all say this all the time. We wouldn't even be functional without of our volunteers. And those aren't just kind, pleasant words, they're factual. So please take our deep appreciation for your service.
Most definitely. Thank you very much.
Good. Mary?
Sherry, I want to thank you. I know at times this board can get a little bit hairy, a little bit difficult. So thank you. With your expertise and everything, it helps us as a council going forward on our decision. We appreciate it.
Thank you. That is our goal as well.
Thank you.
To help you out.
If anybody has any questions of Sherry, we should keep her up here for about an hour. She could get really uncomfortable after about 20 minutes. So.
But I bet Mary will make a motion and rescue you.
Oh, good.
The question is to get the votes, right? Mary,
Sherry, I'd like to make a motion to reappoint Sherry Dreves to the Planning and Zoning Commission.
I'll be glad to second that.
You got a motion and a second. Would you set the vote, Diane? See what the machine says.
That's unanimous, Mayor.
Unanimous. Can you believe it? Congratulations, Sherry, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it. Okay, next would be consideration reappointing of Gary Roberts to the Planning and Zoning Commission. I don't think Gary is here.
No, he's not.
Rick, any comments?
I do. On October 31st, 2017, Gary Roberts' term on the Planning and Zoning Commission will also come due for renewal. He submitted the renewal application letter requesting to be reappointed. Gary Roberts was first appointed to the Planning and Zoning Commission on January 10, 2013, to fill a partial term. This reappointment will also be Gary's third term. Vice Mayor Nye, Councilmember Mary Mallory, and myself are recommending the reappointment of Gary Roberts for a term with a renewal date of October 31st, 2020.
And since he's not here, I'll make a motion.
I'll second that.
Motion to reappoint Gary Roberts to the Planning and Zoning Commission to a term with a renewal date of October 31st, 2020 by electronic vote.
Thank you. Diane, we had the second and the first. Would you set the vote?
Councilmember Rooney, how do you wish to vote? Thank you. That's unanimous, Mayor.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, we move on then to number C, consideration of approving an agreement for professional services with Lion Engineering and Surveying Incorporated for engineering, design, and construction administration services in an amount up to $45,555 for the Long Look Drive sidewalk. Norm or Bill, you got some comments? PowerPoints?
Anyway, yes, we had put out an SLQ, a statement of qualifications, and we had 5 firms that responded to it. The top 3 firms were Lyons Engineering, Civil Tech Engineering, and Dava Associates. And after we had our review and the selection committee, we were able to pick Lion Engineering as the winning firm in that, and we negotiated and came to our $45,555 fee for it, and we'd like to see them be able to get started and help us out here. We're expanding on Long Look from Lone Cactus all to just shy of Viewpoint. We'll be putting in a sidewalk, curb and gutters along that side, and a temporary road alignment that will widen that road up a little bit. It'll be a kind of a continuation of the work that's already been done at the intersection of Long Look and Glassford there, and it'll be, I think, a big impact for that road and the residents there.
You have a comment?
Yeah, we all know how improved it already is, but we great-grandmas really like that sidewalk is going in there for all of those school children of all the various ages, since there's really, people don't know it, but there's 4 schools there. Yeah. 4, if you count Head Start.
I think the good thing, Bill, 3 good companies been at a bid. They've all worked for us before, and a good price. Good companies, good price. So we appreciate that. Mike, you had a comment, or Mary?
Yeah, I was just going to say that it's a great improvement. I'm looking forward to getting it done, and I happened to talk to the principal of AAEC, the high school, and they obviously make that trek from the high school over to the new Yavapai College facility. And so this will help them quite a bit, especially a sidewalk. So I think they're looking forward to it, and I know we are as well. So appreciate the information.
Mary, you had a comment?
Well, I just, as I look out there on that area, all of it, Glassford Hill, everywhere, it's just astounding, the work that's been done there. Yes. And what a great job, and what a great service to the communities, to the schools there. Just to everybody. I can't thank you guys enough, really. Thank you very much.
Rick, you had a comment, no? Anyone else? Larry?
Yes, Mayor and Council, I'd really like to point out that there are many people involved with making these CDBG grants go forward, and the critical element is actually securing the grant and then following all of the federal guidelines. Ryan Judy has done that remarkably well over the last decade and a half. He is detail-oriented enough and patient enough to put up with the federal regulations to bring our tax dollars back to our community. And the number of improvements that he has been able to put his name on is vast, meaning just across the street with the new sidewalk and lighting that go down Lake Valley Road. Just another example of what Ryan has been able to bring back to the community. And so hats off to Ryan, who happens to be doing some things with his family this week, and bravo, it's well-deserved. But he deserves a pat on the back, as well as Bill, who's done a fantastic job in his new position. So thanks.
Good, thank you, Norm.
Yeah, we're going to keep you, Bill. We're going to keep Bill, right?
Yes, you're stuck. You're stuck with us, Bill. Any other comments? How about motion or commotion or demotion or promotion? Emotion.
I'll make a motion.
Oh, you will, Marty?
I'll make a motion to approve an agreement for professional services with Lion Engineering and Surveying Incorporated for engineering, design, and construction administration services in an amount up to $45,555 for the Long Look Drive Sidewalk Improvements Project, CIP number S401 CDBG, by electronic vote.
Okay, Mayor, how about if I try to second this?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Would you set the vote, Diane?
That's unanimous, Mayor.
Hey, Bill, go to work. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, we move on to D, consideration of approving a letter from the mayor as a public comment at an upcoming simple meeting pertaining to a State Route 89A, Robert Road traffic interchange. Norm, you want to comment on that?
Yeah, Mayor, I would if I could. I got a little background. I'd like to bring council up to speed on why we're recommending as staff this letter from council for a current study going on right now on State Route 89A. So give you a little background that State Route 89A, if you're aware, it's been a 20-year effort here regionally to build it to a freeway design standard. We have been through the process many times in past motions by this current council to make comment, and the corridor has continued to be shaped over time. Basically, in 2003, the connectivity of the corridor was established between 89 and 69, but since that time, interchange has been added, more studies have been done, in order to continue to shape this corridor to a freeway standard, which means grade-separated interchanges to where the particular interface between traffic is the highest design standard for safety. So it's a design standard that's always been a particular goal, not only here locally, but by the Arizona Department of Transportation with the particular operation of that particular highway. So it's always been a 20-year goal to have it to a freeway design standard. I think council's aware we've taken actions in the past that there is a current bottleneck at the current intersection at Robert Road. It does have a current signal. We have been experienced significant crash fatalities at this particular intersection, which by a good engineering study and analysis said it's above what you'd expect for this particular intersection. So the fatalities is a concern. It's been studied in the past with safety studies and currently part of the 89A study that's taking place. I do want to remind council back in 2011 that we did select as part of this particular study that we brought 5 alternatives to council for recommendation from staff, what would be the best alternative to change the current signalized intersection into a grade-separated interchange. This particular study, it was done in April 2003, actually led by ADOT. Council may recall, this particular interchange, there was 2 alternatives that we made a recommendation. It was part of this public study back in 2013 for a grade-separated interchange for the current Robert Road intersection to move over. Since this particular time, we used this publicly done study with lots of public comment, year-and-a-half-long study that we incorporated into our general plan and other studies subsequently completed since 2003. Good example was this regional transportation plan update in April of 2005, once again conducted through the Central Yavapai Metropolitan Planning Organization, of which the town participates with. This was a public document to look at the transportation in the whole region and make recommendations. Current study, look at trip generation, look at current growth, and look at changes that have taken place over the last few years to continue to make recommendations on where our tax dollars are best spent for improvements to the 89A corridor. I want to point out to council that if you look as part of this that study that was done on the 2040 transportation plan, you see I've circled State Route 89A there, and in the particular horizon years of 2015 to 2020, which are in, it was recommended we do continued study on the 89A corridor to see where growth is currently happening and make recommendations to meet that growth and apply the particular expenditure if improvements are made through construction. That's where we've been in the past. The current study on State Route 89A that was recommended is funded currently by CYMPO, which we're participating. Yavapai County has funding towards it, and also ADOT has funded the particular State Route 89A study. This particular study, we've seen significant growth between State Route 89 near the Prescott Airport all the way to the current at-grade intersection at Robert Road. So this particular study is looking very much at that corridor, and it's the recommendation of technical staff to look at that corridor due to all the growth. We've seen significant growth in traffic on that corridor, so it's currently taking place. We're about halfway through the study. I've participated as a staff member, as a technical staff member, and what the consultant's job is to look at the corridor, look at trip generation, and look at what they call alternatives to where they can make improvements. Some of the improvements they look at is actually at each interchange, add an additional lane to the 2 lanes each way on 89A, and those design alternatives are things that can be put in place. Some are economical, and it's a phased approach for the ultimate design standard of what that particularly be, looking at horizons way out into the future, maybe 15 or 20 years. What I wanted to bring council's attention to was more specifically the Robert Road intersection, which is the eastern boundary of the particular study. What one of the alternatives is to put a roundabout in place of the current intersection, the signalized intersection, as an interim measure, and then ultimately build a grade separate interchange for a freeway design standard that we've talked about is ultimately what we want along that corridor. What we have concern with, or I do as a staff member, is particularly having a phased approach with a roundabout at this particular intersection and diluting the focus that we've had with several resolutions and recommendations from this council to continue to move forward and working hard to put a grade separated interchange at this particular intersection. So where we are right now is here's the recommendation. That's one of the alternatives, and keep in mind we're in about halfway through the study. So what I wanted to do is bring council's attention that this is a proposed alternative. This is a roundabout, which would be to current design standard, superimposed over that current intersection at the signalized Robert Road intersection. So it's an alternative as an interim measure, with ultimately a recommendation we're hoping would be to build the grade separate interchange is what we've always focused upon. So we have a concern that if we build an interim measure of a roundabout, it'll take focus away from the grade separate interchange, and we really feel as staff that we need to keep focusing and keep our attention to this particular bottleneck and putting a grade separate interchange at this particular alignment in State Route 89A. So we're halfway through the particular study, and here's the current timeline. What's important is, as council's done in past, made many recommendations and letters of support throughout the growth and time period of 89A expansion, is to send public comment. So what you have before you tonight is a letter to the Central Yavapai Metropolitan Planning Organization Administrator Chris Bridges to say our comment would be, with the attached letter to your council action, would be to have the recommendation. We don't recommend that we have the interim condition of a roundabout. We use whatever funding would be towards an interim roundabout to put towards a grade separated interchange, and that would be the particular recommendation to present at the public meeting that's going to take place on December 12th. So as we go back, we can see the timeline for the current study. We're about halfway through the study. Big public meetings you see in December. The date's already been set. It'll be right here in this particular auditorium on December 12th, where alternatives will be presented, and that's the time for public comment to say, hey, how do you shape this study? What would you like to see? And the consultant can put that into the final report. So we believe it's timely to send this particular letter and have it as part of the public comment that the study is seeking to make sure that we have a public document, and we continue to shape with all the studies we've done in the past, and as we continue to move forward, to add the public comment into the record for this particular study. So in short, the recommendation letter from council to be signed by Mayor Skoog would be just that. Please continue to move forward with not an interim roundabout as an alternative, but to continue looking at the grade separate interchange, and so that we'd have better safety, mobility, and operational capacity at this intersection as we continue to grow and see traffic growth. That's what I have for you, Mayor. Be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, Mary?
You know, Mayor, I'd like to say a few things in regards to what is being proposed on this study. So our general plan has a vision that was created by the citizens. And the purpose of trying to get this interchange correct is so that it would help get traffic to go another direction besides on 69, to start to get it into another area. The other part is that last week I was at the Summit Transportation Conference, and I had an opportunity to talk with the president of the trucking industry. And, you know, the trucks themselves don't even care much for the roundabouts. And the other part of this is that we're trying to create safety. And that is supposed to be a drive straight through, easy move traffic going forward. And I don't really see how that roundabout will be contributing to that goal. Money is always a driving factor, as we know, because of the funds and the lack thereof. But you have to come to a point at some time and start saying, you know what? We are planning. That's what we're doing here. We're planning. And we're planning for the correct interchange to go on this highway. This is a freeway. It is a drive, get to where you're going program. Not all of a sudden come to 20 miles an hour and go in the roundabout. It's not the design that's meant for that area. It never was. It won't work. And it's almost like, to me, like a Band-Aid. We're dealing with the lack thereof money, but you know what? We're going to spend money to do something that really doesn't serve the purpose of the whole point of doing this interchange to begin with. We need to do it, we need to plan for it, and we need to do it correctly. And we all know what the plan was going forward. I understand that it's costly, but we need to plan for it, and that's the direction we need to continue, is the direction we've always had.
Thank you. Jody, you got a comment?
Mayor, I apologize. I didn't jump in quick enough. Due to a conflict in employment with Ada, I need to recuse myself from this particular item.
Okay. Any other comments? Marty? I'm sorry, Laura first, and Marty.
I'm really annoyed at the word interim. How much does that cost? Annoyed, annoyed, annoyed.
Marty?
Yeah, when I first saw this, I immediately said that's not the right place for a roundabout and for redirecting traffic. I live right near there, so I use that intersection a lot, and I go through there a lot. And my personal feeling on this is, let's do it right the first time. If anybody has been driving up and down 89 near the Phippen Museum, where they're doing a roundabout there, the inconvenience that their traffic, that their obstacles there are causing, I wouldn't want to put our citizens through that twice. First to build the roundabout, and then to build it the proper way. Plus, I personally see it as a total waste of money. And like everybody has said, I'd rather just let's pay for it once, do it right, and do it as quickly as we can, and let's do it safely. The intersection at Viewpoint is a perfect example of what it's supposed to look like. So let's just follow up and do it the right way that way. Thank you.
Any other comments? Larry?
Yeah, Mayor and Council, I think it's important to go ahead and point out that the SIMPO master plan incorporates this part of Fane Road /89A into an overall regional system that includes a connection to I-17 and to I-40 that comes right through this valley. This is a critical component of that. Who has ever heard of a freeway having a roundabout in the middle of it? We're talking about an access-controlled facility. It makes no sense. Now, let me go back in history a little bit. This particular location was chosen by the transportation professionals at the time. We moved at a great deal of expense the intersection of Robert Road and 89A. We moved it, and it is where you presently see it. There is a belief that it's going to be moved again. We did our job. It existed, meaning that intersection, and so we have made it abundantly clear. This is not a partnership to create this grade separated interchange. We had an intersection there. The facility has been upgraded. It is the responsibility of the State Highway Department to move traffic along a quote-unquote freeway corridor. And so it's abundantly clear this needs to be, in our view, consistent with an access-controlled facility that ultimately is going to have connections on interstate highways.
Mike, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I was. I guess when I saw this, I thought it might be a joke. You know, it's interesting, and I'm not sure. Obviously, as we were talking, my question was, it must be a result of, and obviously it is, funding. We're looking at an interim fix for something that will be fixed again in the future. And I don't know if there's any, it looks huge, and I don't know if there's another place in the state or in the country that has something like this in operation. But it looks very dangerous to me, and I think I agree. I think we just need to consider, the impact it has on 89A, and I think it's going to be one of the significant corridors in our community as time goes on. And to cripple it, I think, with this kind of a approach to separating traffic and access just seems, it looks like a joke. So I'm very much against it, and hopefully we can make that point when we send our letter to SIMPO.
Mayor, if I can interject, keep in mind the consultant is doing their job by, this is design alternatives. The reason I walked you through, it is important to provide comment. It's my job to, as we progress through the studies, to bring what the progress is, stay in touch with you so that you can comment accordingly. Very important that we get this letter, if it's council's decision, to the December 12th public meeting, because we've spoken. We've met in public forum to say this is what we feel like. So they have alternatives to say, what do you think about this? And I think it's important that we respond what we think about it. That's what the public meeting is for, and to provide written comment in a public forum to help shape the study and what we really want to see at this particular intersection. So the consultant's doing their job. It's alternatives. We can say what alternatives we like. We've done that in the past when what alternative we chose, back when I showed her the study with what grade separate interchange alternative we preferred. And we put that in. We've actually put it in our general plan. And that's the process working very well over time, that it does have public comment. So when you decide to spend the significant expenditure, it's been fully vetted and it's been discussed. And there's no surprises on what's finally determined.
Mary, another comment?
Yeah, as we talk about the public meeting, I really, really encourage the community to come and get involved in this. This will not only be for the citizens just driving from A to B, the grocery store, wherever you're going to deal with this. We have our safety, our fire, we have our police, all of these also. They're going to get on this highway, they're going to start rolling at 65 miles an hour, and all of a sudden what? They're going to come to the roundabout? This is not the place. There's many roundabouts, I'm not against them, but this does not work. This is not going to work. So please, as a community, get involved and be a part of the process of what it takes to build a community, a functional one that serves the safety for everyone.
Other comments, Marty?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, just one last point. Just south of that intersection is our school district where all the buses depart from. So for if you've ever seen a school bus on a roundabout, I'd rather not see it. Thank you.
Rick? Any other comments? Anything else, Norm?
Mayor, I put the slide up once again that this public meeting will be held here on the 89A study on December 12th, which is a Tuesday, from 6 to 7:30 p.m. So we'll get lots of media outreach out to make sure that residents are well aware of the meeting and regionally help comment on this study because it's very important. The significant expenditure will be made to keep that highway and build it to a freeway design standard. So as always, public comment is very important. So once again, we're in the public meeting will be right here December 12th on this particular study. And as I mentioned before, that public comment will help state the final report, which will be after December. In March, we'll get a final report with all those comments and the consultant working with those comments to come up with that final document and recommendations.
Next.
Ready for a motion, Mayor?
I think we're ready for a motion, yes.
Then let me begin.
Laura will begin.
Motion to approve a letter from the mayor as public comment at an upcoming SIMPO meeting by electronic vote.
I'll second.
Okay, with a motion and a second, would you set the vote, Diane? Jody, by the way, is going to recuse from it. I think she disappeared. No, she's still there.
That passes, Mayor, with
Passes.
Councilmember Rooney recusing herself.
Thank
you, Mayor.
Okay, now we go on to number 11, comments from the public, and just for that, I'm going to have Jody read it.
All right, do we have any comments from the public? And so let me go in here. Consideration and discussion of general unscheduled comments from the public. Those wishing to address the council need not request permission in advance. Any such remarks shall be addressed to the council as a whole and not to any member thereof. Such remarks shall be limited to 5 minutes unless additional time is granted by the mayor. At the conclusion of the unscheduled comments, individual members of the council may respond to the item addressed at the discretion of the mayor, or they may ask the town manager to review the matter or ask that the matter be placed on a future agenda.
Thank you, Jody. Anyone care to make a comment? Yes, come on up. Appreciate that.
Hi, my name is Lois Case. I'm a resident of Prescott Valley. That was shocking to me. Utterly shocking to me. I cannot believe anybody even suggested it. And I hope that you really get an article in the paper soon about it, not just a little fine print, public notice, but there really needs to be some real publicity about this because this is wrong in so many levels.
That's exactly the reason we have public meetings. We want to hear comments. Thank you so much. Anyone else? Kirk, any comments? If there is no further comment, then we will go on to number 12, and Mary will read that one.
Oh. Okay. Motion to convey into executive session in order to conduct the annual review and evaluation of the performance of the town magistrate, Judge Keith Carson.
Okay, any discussion or any motion to convene to executive session?
Mr. Mayor, I'd be happy to make a motion to convene into executive session.
Good. Second, anyone? And Laura seconds it. Would you set the vote, Diane?
Thank you, Mayor. That's unanimous.
Okay, great. Okay, what we're going to do is recess for a few minutes and let us get ready for the executive session. Thank you all for coming, and thank you so much for your comments. We appreciate it.